took my frame out of the clamps, and it's not as bad as I originally thought. I've already cut some of this excess material off with my scroll saw, and I've got the blade set 90 degrees from what it originally is. And that is because once I start cutting these interior cuts, there's not enough space for me to push it into the blade with that arm back there. So if I have my blade set this way, my shop is my limiting factor as far as the depth. But I'm going to go ahead and cut off all this excess all the way around, and because I'm using a scroll saw, I can get the blade off, put the frame in, and cut all the inside out too. Once I get all the excess cut off, I'm going to come back with a chisel and some fine sandpaper and get rid of all this itty bitty glue squeeze out, and then the rest of the shoulder from this excess material. With the majority of the material removed at the scroll saw, I can now take a chisel and pare away the rest of that end grain. So nice and smooth before I even start sanding, real clean surface. And I'm going to do this all the way around the frame real quick. I've already gotten this interior miter trimmed up nice and flush. I'm just using the sharpest chisel I have and coming in and obviously coming down. I'm going into some end grain here as opposed to pairing off with the end grain on the other side, so it's a little bit trickier. And to get this stable sitting up on the bench, all I did was just clamp it to something that doesn't want to move, keeping it perpendicular so that I can always use this corner. Then I'll rotate it and use this corner and so on until I get them all done. Sometimes you just have to improvise, and that's a really handy stand for me to get in here and make these cuts. But I've got to make 3 more of these interior cleanups. I've already gotten all of the exterior miters cleaned up real nice. As far as my finger can tell, that's absolutely flush. However, I am going to use my sander to just verify and clean all this up just a little bit. I've got a few chisel marks here on the poplar that I want to clean up. So also I got to clean up and sand the backside, but it's looking pretty good so far. Just a few minor touch-ups here and there. With all the chisel work done on the frame, all that's left for me to do is sand this before I stain it. For that, I'm using some 220 grit sandpaper, and I've got one of these little sanding pads that uses the same discs. It's a little hook and loop system. It uses the same discs as my random orbital sander, so I really like this pad. Very ergonomic design. It doesn't allow me to put a lot of pressure into corners and round over corners rather. So I'm going to use this, just clean it up a little bit before I start staining. Alright, the entire project is all sanded up, cleaned up, ready to go as good as it's going to get. Not 100% perfection here, but not bad for a first attempt. So the stain she chose is this early American. Only got about this much left in the can. That probably will do it, but I want to be on the safe side, so I'm just going to go pick up some more of this real quick. I just got back with a new half pint of, I think it's a half pint, a new small bottle of half pint early American Minwax. I went ahead and just got some extra and threw the other away. I don't know how long that old stuff was, and I don't want to screw this up any more than what it is, although I really do like the color that it has turned out to be. Just put the stain on there so it's still wet. I've got a brush on polyurethane to finish it, but the dark hid most of my minor errors, which is good, and it did not cover up these walnut keyways too much, so I like that. You can still see them on both the exterior and the interior of the frame. So, a couple spots. I've got some uneven stain absorption because of glue, but from, I don't know, past 2 feet, 3 feet, you can't tell, so not the end of the world. This isn't artwork here. This is just something to go up on the wall. But I'm gonna let this dry overnight, and tomorrow morning I'll put some polyurethane on it, and hopefully tomorrow night it'll be hanging on my wall. Finally, I'm able to hang this thing. I stained it a couple days ago and let it dry for a full 12 hours, and it was still tacky, so I let it dry some more. After that, I put a brush on polyurethane and let that sit for 36 hours, and it was still tacky. It is middle of January, and we've been having 75-degree weather with rain, so the humidity outside feels like a jungle. So high humidity, low dry times. It's finally dry, finally ready for me to put up. These corners, this decorative molding could have been done a little bit better, obviously. But just a learning experiment. This was a fun build to do. The miters turned out alright. This little, let's see if I can't get a decent light. These keyways turned out pretty good. For the back, all I'm using is a piece of cardboard. And I've got these 5/8 18 gauge little brad nails driven in there a little bit. I wanted to use those little slides that attach to the frame and then swivel down in place like you see on a lot of other frames. Couldn't find them. This is what I went with anyway. Put a little sawtooth hanger up at the top, obviously, and there's a cardboard backing. The cardboard can slide out, and then I can put the picture behind it and then put it back in place, no problem. Or I've only got one brad right there. I can move it out of the way and peel up about 2 inches, and then the picture can slide in, hopefully. But anyway, I'm using, for glass, I'm using a sheet of 2mm acrylic plexiglass, I think. I didn't take the film off either side yet. I don't want to get any dust on it by the time from the shop to the home, so I'm going to peel off the plastic protective coating as soon as I get the picture in it. But this thing is ready to hang, and here it is on the wall. If you can't tell, my wife is a big horse fan, so got horses everywhere. You can still see the keyway joint, whatever it's called, mitered key miter. But very happy with the result. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the build so far, and hopefully this thing stays together. But thanks for watching.